This is how I made these giant jelly beans. So I got this green circle from Dollar Tree. I'm just cutting it with my hot knife. I'm going to cut it into 6 pieces. They don't have to be perfect. They're going to kind of look like macaroni noodles, just to give the jelly beans some support. Now, you don't have to do it. You could make it with solid clay, but I like the support. Sometimes clay can collapse in on itself, and it's also expensive. So by doing this, you save a little bit of material. So after I do that, I'm just going to start putting the clay around it. This is air dry foam clay. I mixed all these colors with white to make a lighter color. Of course, you could make these any color, and you could do this for any holiday. Maybe you like brighter colors. You could also use them, like they'd be so fun for Halloween, like a jelly bean tree. So I'm just smoothing the clay and making it into a nice jelly bean shape. I'm just kind of freehanding it. It's a very easy project. I'm not so worried about the bottom. I'm not even going to completely close the bottom on these. Because I'm going to put felt under there like usual so that it can be glued or set in a tree or something. It's totally up to you. If you wanted a 3D sculpture, you could do that as well. But I'm just going to continue smoothing with my fingers and palms until I'm happy with how it looks. And again, clay does poof out. So if there's little imperfections, it will poof out as it's drying. So these are the colors that I ended up with, and I'm not super happy with the blue actually. And anyways, it has a crack in it, so I'm gonna have to fix that. I'll show you how I repaired that. And so the ones, unfortunately, that have cracks or big dents in them, if you add just the clay on top of it, you're gonna have a seam. So you can add water to it and sort of smooth it down, but that's probably gonna stain your clay. So I ended up painting them after repairing them. I had to repair any parts with I actually use spackle rather than clay. Clay is kind of a pain if you want to like smooth out little flaws like that. Whereas using spackle is much more versatile, and you can also sand it. So that's what I do. I added a little bit of lightweight spackle to repair these. And then I am going to be forced to paint them because there's no way I can match that color. So I'm using plenty of water on a clean paintbrush to really thin down that spackle and smooth it down, because I don't want to do a lot of sanding. And then you don't have to wait as long for it to dry either, because it's so thin, it dries so fast. So I repaired all of the jelly beans that needed to, and then I painted them. So this is a 320. It's a very, very fine grit. It's almost soft. It's a very soft kind of sandpaper. Don't use like an 80. That will tear up your jelly bean. So I'm just going to lightly go over this to make sure it's smooth before I paint. I'm just going to share the colors I used with you. This is Cloudless by Applebarrel. Key West by Applebarrel, one of my favorites. Orange Cream by Applebarrel. Just Daffodil, you could use any yellow. And Lavender, all by Applebarrel. And then I'm going to use my favorite pink, which is Rosemarie by Craftsmart. So you just paint it like you would any project, and I did end up having to repair quite a few of these jelly beans. So I did end up painting several of them in those more pastel colors, which I'll show you in just a second. And then I'll show you how I got the very shiny coat. So this is Triple Thick. It's by Deco Art. It is a gloss glaze. It's almost, if you've ever refinished a table, it's like that. It's like shellac almost, but for crafts. And so you do have to put it on very thick, because or else you're going to see brush strokes, and you don't want that, of course. So go ahead and put a lot more on there than you think. And I just kind of go around the edge first, and then I do the middle portion of the jelly bean. And then if you see any brush strokes, go squirt a little more of that Triple Thick on there and just lightly brush it down. And it probably will run down with gravity, will kind of pull down the drips a little bit. That's totally fine. Just leave it on like some parchment paper or wax paper so that you can get it off more easily later. You also want to watch for air bubbles, because sometimes it can get them. And just if you see an air bubble, you're just going to probably have to squirt a little more of the Triple Thick on there and lightly brush it with your paintbrush. So this is how they turned out once they were completely dry. They're super shiny. They do look like candy. And I also want to show you how they would look on my tree, just so you can see how they might sit there. I covered the back with felt, and that makes it easier to use some hot glue to attach it. I also made some sparkly jelly beans, and this is a much easier and quicker process because the glaze really can be a pain in the butt. It takes a long time to dry, and it can get flaws in it if you aren't used to using it. So the glitter actually hides flaws. So I just use chunky glitters. I'll tag it in the description, but it's from Walmart. And I think it's called Snowstorm. But you just put that all over there, and it will, reflect any color that you're using, and see how beautiful these are. And here they are in my tree as well. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you so much for watching my channel.